Are you ready for a fifth dimensional relationship of bliss and finding your golden life? I'm going to show you how I did it, and I'm going to show you what you can do. Stay tuned to the end. There's a secret. What's up, everyone? I'm Michael, and I help people transform their consciousness, their relationships, their behavior, and their reality. Here we go. Bring two people together. Many things pull people apart. Some things that keep people together would actually pull some other people apart. But we never really know what is what in our life until we shift our perception into what we want. So what do I mean by this? Is, for me personally, I had years of infidelity with my wife. And not until I faced and saw what was in front of me was I able to heal what was causing that issue within me. But that instances in my life actually brought us closer together, and we actually consider ourselves forming a very, very divine union. And most people would have left. In fact, I've never met anyone in my life that has stayed together after what we have been through. And it was my wife's choice to stay with me. It was my partner's choice. She chose to stick with me, and we healed 7 to 10 years of self-destructive behavior on both of our parts. But my self-destructive behavior turned out to come out in the physical self-destructive way of putting a lot of stakes and energy in between our divine union. Not until we healed the root causes of each other, of each other's selves, did we find our union in each other. We have developed a relationship that I like to call a fifth dimensional relationship, because there's no way that we can actually describe what happened to us. All I can share with people, and the reason I do relationship coaching, is because we went through something that I have never really seen anyone go through before. And if we can stick together, and if we can make it, then anyone on the planet can. I know there's others that have probably been through worse, but I haven't really met too many others. So what I'm trying to say is everything that I say comes from a place of experience, and it comes from an understanding of how I got to be with who I am now and how I am with her, and speaking to the world that you can heal anything in a relationship if you choose to. If we open our eyes to see what healing the particular issue will bring to us, healing that particular issue could be far greater than ever turning a blind eye to that issue. And yes, I wasn't the one being cheated on, but on my own perception of it, I had to look at my own self in a very, very deep way and face the shame and the guilt. Once I saw myself actually for who and what I was doing, I had to turn around and face that shame and guilt. So when there's shame and guilt, we must understand that these are negative vibrations that we are having inside of us that do not serve us. So when I turn that shame and guilt into understanding of why the actions were taking place in my life, the shame and guilt was washed away because I washed it away with understanding. Once I had that understanding, which is essentially knowledge, right? I turned it into wisdom in my own life. And this is when I can look at myself and say, yes, I can stand up as a man and say, this is what I've done and this is what I have learned. And would I have changed anything? Absolutely not. Because I would not be to where I am now without those lessons in my life. See, we can use self-destructive behavior to blindside us from anything that is good from us. But if we do not understand the reason for the self-destructive behavior, we can say sorry and ask for forgiveness and we can move on, or we can look at it and realize that if the self-destructive behavior stops and understanding and wisdom is brought into my life, that is what ascension is all about. And this is why relationships can be so powerful. Because if we use the relationship as a tool of expression and love and guidance and mirroring what we need in this ascension process, then it turns into a whole new thing altogether. It is no longer about meeting someone in this physical world and getting this perfect life that we want. that starts to fall into surrender, because we don't who am I to say I actually even know what I want? I don't know what I want. I know what I want to feel, and yes, I know what I want in a context, but I take my mind out beyond that question. And when I look into the infinite, I don't even want to answer that, because what I want changes. But if there are some things I had to say, freedom, compassion, unity, these are the things that I want in my life, and these are the things that are in my life. And I would not have found them without the relationship, the partnership, the divine union that I have found, but it did not start there. It started in a very, very self-destruction on my end, a self-destruction on my partner's end. And we both went years and years of slamming our head into the wall, getting a lot of bruises on our body to really figure out what was going on. And only recently have we started to build a foundation of the life that we know we are meant to live. It's a knowing from inside, and this knowing was underneath all this gunk. But the relationship, if we use the relationship to see ourselves, to see who we truly are, then we can remove these things, because we have someone helping us. We have a partner in this process. We can either do it alone or we can have a partner. It's up to you. It's a choice. But I call this a fifth dimensional relationship, because it's no longer about this physical building in the world and doing things because our parents did it and this is what humans do. 1 + 1 = 2 and 2 + 2 = 4, but it's not necessarily that simple. It's not necessarily I go out of high school, I get a job, blah, 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 house, insurance, all this stuff. Now, all that stuff can be in there, but it's like we start to see beyond it first, and then we can look at it from a higher, farther perspective and really dissect what we want. So a fifth dimensional relationship really starts to transcend this life. We start to live for more than this 100, 120, 200 years that we're on this planet. And we start to live for the beyond. And we start to live for the all. Because the all is in all, and all is in the all. And that's an ancient esoteric saying, and I would encourage you to look it up. It was in the Kabbalion. So what I'm trying to say is, when you find someone that has the capacity to grow, you may not be there yet, but if you feel a calling towards someone, no matter if the issues, the problems in each other's life may be very, let's call it dark. I don't like to use a dualistic, but they're just words for me to express myself to you. So if we have these issues in our life, and they're very, very, they could be very hard and gunky and negative, but if we both have a desire to understand ourselves, it's the greatest thing ever. And if you can match that desire to understand yourself with someone else's desire to understand themselves, and then you make a choice, not a need, to be together. That choice goes, I choose you because I recognize something in you that I want. I choose you because I recognize something that I want. We may not even fully understand the recognition, but if it's coming from a place of, yes, this person is like ride or die. Okay, let's see what's going on there. You two can create a momentum in your life of great healing and spiritual awakening. So much healing can happen in your life. Because not only will the vibration of your partner support the vibrational change within you, but once again, I'm going to use the word, it will be a mirror for you to ascend into a higher place. And you are going to understand each other. It is the greatest blessing. Because when you step out into the world, no one's going to understand. We are not in the place yet where the collective consciousness is in the all ascension place. You do not go to the grocery store. You do not go to parties and you hear higher vibrational conversations. Normally, it's what? It's politics, it's about the news, it's about what's going on, it's about fear, it's about complaining, it's about negativity. We are not there to where you step into a room and everyone is discussing like collective consciousness, higher ascension thinking things yet, right? Everyone's supporting each other and it's like a shadow work group and everyone's kind of talking about how they've gone through their things and they're there to listen. You know, no one's really there to listen yet. That really starts to happen in the new consciousness is when we speak to people, we hear them. That's why me as a coach, one of the greatest gifts I gave to myself and to others is the art of listening. And that's why I found something I do deep coaching, right? Because I've learned and I've been trained on how to listen to someone on a very, very deep level to the point where some people get caught off guard because they've never been listened to in that depth. And when you're listened to in depth, you're able to speak from depth. So when you find a fifth dimensional partner, it's not always like, hey, you two are like these higher glowing spiritual beings, like little like glowing things. It might be that way. It is happening. People are coming onto this planet now, like the younger generation. They're just like, shoo. You know, they're just like out there already. Other like 20-year-olds are saying stuff that I'm like, do you know what it took me to get through to be able to realize some of the stuff that you're just saying? You know, it's amazing. But it doesn't always start there, right? It starts with a lot of shit. And it's a choice. Instead of trying to start over or to look somewhere else and say, that person's not for me. The person may not be for you. Okay? Not everyone is meant to be together. But if you two choose, it's just a choice, and you can try the choice out for a while. It's the choice. It's a shift in perception. If you look at it as a choice, the more conscious you become, the more conscious the choice is to stay together. So both of you, before we go boom, right, and to look maybe into somebody else to see if they're right, we become more conscious ourselves. We focus off of each other, off of the relationship. We focus on each other, raise our vibration, raise our consciousness, get clear, think from a higher perspective, then our choice is going to be more powerful. And if you're like, you know what, this person really can support me and I can support them, and we heal this shit, and once we're in a higher state of vibration, a higher consciousness, those old choices won't be there anymore, but the thing that I see in that person and the thing that person sees in me is still going to be there, but it's even going to be more prevalent because I'm rising up to be more and more of that instead of falling more and more into the other. And this is sometimes what it takes to develop into a higher ascension divine union. It's no longer about the physical pleasures. It's no longer about she's mine, obligation, contracts, none of that. It's about the person that I have come into union with to rise. And the word rise, it's like, rise in what? You know what? I'm just going to leave it at that. Because if your life is getting better, then there you go. If this person's going to make your life better, there you go. And I don't talk about she's going to do all this physical world stuff for you. I mean, if you are finding happiness, fulfillment, support, and dedication within yourself, if these things are happening, if you're finding compassion, if you're connecting, if you feel safe to look into your traumas and your childhood and your darkness and heal it, then that person might be a partner in a union that you may want to enter into. And if you can do the same for them, it's even more important that we have capacity to do it for them. Because at some point, enough is enough. At some point, it's only smart of us to say, this is my life, I do have to step away, no more. But it's all the lessons that we have to go through as a soul to evolve into what and who we truly are going to be. It's a different perception on life, but I will say this, it's not easy, it's not hard, it's a choice. Anyone can choose this type of relationship. You really can. It goes beyond the comfort zones. If you think we believe, the beliefs don't really exist in this type of relationship. Beliefs start to fall away because you start to shatter them. You start to be like, I don't even know, what is the point of believing something? You know? Just because we believe something doesn't mean it's true. If someone believes something, it doesn't mean it's true. And if I believe something, it doesn't mean it's true. So these things start to wash away. And if you're in support of someone else while it washes away within them, what a blessing! It is a piece of gold for you that you have found. Because let me tell you what, you step out into the rest of the world and you are going to feel like an alien until you're grounded in the process. And then you two ground together and you build a life on that process. You will become rich without money. You will become happiness without anything physical coming into your life. You will find pure bliss in the simplest of things. And a simple bowl filled with good food and a glass of clean water and a clear sky will light you up like a Christmas tree inside, and you're going to be so flippin' happy that you're like giggling to each other, and the day is amazing. And this is a reality because I found it. What a blessing it is to have found this union. And I want the whole world to find this union. And I'm not going to say it's always like, hey, a Christmas tree. That's not what I'm trying to say. But when you wake up and when you go to sleep, and the understanding that you're going to wake up in a union on this plane, it really, really, really makes for a life of flow and grace and gratitude and happiness and love and compassion, power, strength, and courage. And I want everyone to find it, which is why I'm saying this stuff. And I want you to find it. So please, click that subscribe button down below. I have a lot more content coming on this fifth dimensional relationship, this divine union that has happened in my life. And I want to share it with the rest of the world. If you have any questions, please comment below. I will answer them. Relationships are an amazing tool. We want to run away from them because of what they can show us. And the world wants to pull you apart because of how powerful a divine union is. Magazines, news, movies, outside influences, they do not support a divine union. We are not there yet. The consciousness is changing. We are changing. We are rising. We are clearing. We are becoming light. But the overall density is still kind of there. We got to break it loose. And you can do a lot of work in a divine union. And it will be a safe place for you to rest. It will be a safe place for you to go to work. It'll be a safe place to heal. And I want everyone to find this. I love you all. Please, once again, hit that subscribe button. Leave me a comment. Get at me. I love you all.